What is happening here?
Somehow, a town with no fault lines is shaking on a daily basis.
Hold on to your proton packs. The Ecto is back. The new Ghostbusters movie is here today. It is a modern-day sequel to the classic film. It's also packed with some familiar elements. It's even directed by the son of the original movie's director. So, when you have a movie like that, who are you going to call? CBC senior entertainment reporter Eli Glasner. The Friday Film Review. Good morning, Eli. Let's talk about the new Ghostbusters.
All right, so we begin with Allie. She is a single mother. She is running from her debts, dragging her two kids, Trevor and Phoebe, to Somerville, which is basically any town, USA, some generic, happy, multicultural slice of Americana. Little country, a little rural, maybe a little southern, has a main street, a sheriff, and an interesting, spooky, abandoned mine. Now, what brings the family here is actually the old abandoned house that Allie's father left them. As they start poking around, young Phoebe finds a weird scientific instrument and brings it to the summer school class that she signed up for, even though she's clearly probably the smartest person in the town. But Paul Rudd, as the science teacher, instantly knows what this humming box with lights is. You probably do too. Let's take a look.
I found this in my living room.
Whoa, killer replica.
A replica of what?
A ghost trap? There hasn't been a ghost sighting in 30 years. New York in the 80s? It's like The Walking Dead. Your dad never mentioned this to you?
It's just my mom.
Just her mom, but her mother's father, her grandfather, is, yes, Egon, the mad genius of the original Ghostbusters. It seems after the team split up, Egon became quite the recluse, hiding in this house, ranting about the apocalypse. But soon, Phoebe starts digging around, finding a workshop in the basement. Yes, some proton packs, and wouldn't you know it, Trevor finds that old caddy in the barn with a very familiar, if not dusty, logo. All very convenient when it seems the old mine might be covering up a long buried source of evil looking to make a sequel of its own.
Yes, always good to see Ecto 1 take to the streets again. Let's talk about this, though. Some familiar ingredients, some new ones as well. And Jason Reitman taking on his dad's franchise. Big move, but he's a pretty talented guy in his own right.
He's very talented. I think it's fascinating, though, because they are two very different directors, right? Ivan Reitman made these incredibly successful, but I think very broad, crowd-pleasing comedies like Dave and Twins and Ghostbusters. Now, Jason grew up in the shadow of that and went on to make movies kind of satirically and dramatically questioning American institutions like Up in the Air, Labor Day, and Thank You for Smoking. So I find it interesting, John, after years of essentially running from his father's legacy, now he's actively embracing him. He's spoken with me in interviews about how busy his father was when he was growing up. And now here we have a movie where the engine of the film is this woman frustrated. Her father kind of sacrificed the family in order to focus on work, which makes this promotional video I found for you all the more fascinating to watch. This is Jason Reitman with his father talking about what it's like directing a movie with dear old dad nearby.
While making the movie, my father's presence was felt most like this. Inches away, watching the monitor. Imagine yourself in your workplace and your parents are sitting right next to you. Watching you take every phone call, watching you present any idea, chiming in often.
It was probably more fun for me than for Jason.
See, an interesting little moment of honesty there that you don't normally get in those kind of promotional videos.
Hey, that's the background of all of this. So, how is it?
You know, I think the issue with this new Ghostbusters film is that there's essentially two movies. There's this fun, silly comedy about kids trying to save the world where this mine overflows with evil spirits. Phoebe, played by McKenna Grace, is great as this very dry, neurotypical kid who keeps her emotions in check. Very Gen Z, a lot of fun. Logan Kim plays her one friend named Podcast, who makes podcast. Luckily, his comic relief is much better than his nomenclature. Here's an example when the two of them get a chance to try out the proton packs for the first time. Take a look.
Safety's off. Her feet are planted. Her face is poised. Will this be the moment of her death? Nobody knows. Oh my gosh.
All right, so that is fun, but then there's the other movie, a movie that takes the original Ghostbusters and treats it like it was E.T. or Star Wars. Jason Reitman taking this zany studio comedy with a great theme song and using it to make an audition tape to replace Steven Spielberg. The tone whiplashes from silly to solemn, while the composer gives us John Williams light. You know, John, in anime, there's something called fan service, and it's the idea of adding content to gratuitously please fans. Now, you might recall a few years ago, there was another Ghostbusting film about women Ghostbusters. That didn't go over so well with fans, so it feels like now we overcompensated, absolutely sliming the audience with nostalgia, but sometimes giving the audience everything they want isn't actually what you want in the end. 3 stars out of 5.
Okay, so with that caveat, I have to know, though, the late Harold Ramis, gone, of course, passed, but Aykroyd, Hudson, Murray, are they anywhere to be found in this new universe?
You will get everything you desire and more in this film. Do not fear. There are the short answer is yes. I don't want to spoil it.
No.
But the final act is, as I said, fan service, about kind of giving, the band is back together and kind of giving us those moments that the fans have been denied.
Well, I could watch Dan Aykroyd read the phone book. That's just me. So maybe I'll get a chance to in this new effort. Eli Glasner, always a pleasure. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.